Good evening and welcome to Election Night 2023 here on Nantucket Community Television. I'm your host, Charley Walters, and I'm pleased to be joining you once again from the NCTV studios on Bayberry Court at Nantucket. Tonight, we're reporting on an all-island election as Nantucketers vote on contests and ballot measures which concern only the town and county of Nantucket. Before announcing those results, I'd like to share some news concerning this very broadcast, which has become a tradition for television and live stream viewers here on the island. It is my honor to announce that last fall's Election Night 2022 live coverage won the Democracy in Action category in the Hometown Media Awards. This is a national competition among hundreds of community television stations just like this one. It's a competitive process with nearly 1,000 submissions. NCTV will be picking up this award at next month's National Convention of the Alliance for Community Media, our industrial trade association. And this ceremony will take place in Brooklyn, New York. We'd like to thank the judges and our community media colleagues for their support, and we look forward to continuing to serve the people of Nantucket with relevant and credible information to further civic engagement and public life here on the island. First and most important this evening, island voters determined the composition of the select board by picking 2 of the 5 seats. As always, this was a nonpartisan contest and the ballot listed no party affiliations. All of the results are coming to us from Nantucket's town clerk, Nancy Holmes. 4 candidates vied for 2 3-year select board seats, and at this hour, NCTV can report that Thomas Dixon appears to be the top vote getter with 1,030 votes, or 28.1% of the total. And in second place is the incumbent Malcolm McNabb with 25.9%, or 947 votes. Rounding out the field were Kathy Richin, who received 838 votes, or 22.9% of the total, and Cliff Williams, who received 831 votes, or 22.7%. There were 15 write-in votes, and 615 ballots were left blank. The other competitive race on the ballot tonight was for a single 5-year term on the Nantucket Land Bank Commission, where the incumbent Alan Reinhardt appears to be the winner, receiving 1,244 votes, or 63.2% of the total. His challenger, Kelly Francis Stephan, garnered 719 votes, or 33.6% of the total. There were 4 write-ins and 1,171 blanks. We'll now move to the 7 ballot questions that were before island voters today, 6 of which were approved by voters at the annual town meeting on May 6th of this year, but all of which need ballot approval. Question 1. Asked voters for supplemental funding for Surfside area road reconstruction and transportation improvements with a projected annual property tax increase of $30.90 on an average year-round residential property. Islanders voted 1,174 votes in favor versus 673 votes opposed. There were 291 blanks. Question 1 did pass. Question 2 asked for further funding for landfill closure costs with a projected annual increase of $11.73 to property taxes. Nantucket voted 1,413 votes in favor versus 632 votes opposed. There were 93 blanks. Question 2 did pass. Question 3 asked for financing to build a shared use path on the Walwinet Road. Nantucketers voted 1,460 votes in favor versus 615 votes opposed. There were 63 blanks. Question 3 did pass. Question 4 was defeated at the annual town meeting, so its ballot results are purely symbolic. Although proponents did continue to campaign in its favor, as a symbolic message for future town meetings to consider. This question sought to appropriate $3.8 million in site enhancements, renovations, and additions to the Novadear Playing Fields complex. Islanders voted 1,044 votes in favor versus 984 votes opposed. There were 110 blanks. Question 4 did pass. Question 5 asked for just under $1 million in new debt for capital outlays, primarily for fire department equipment, security, and lighting improvements at parks and other public works needs. This would mean an average increase of $31.31 in property taxes. Islanders voted 1,427 votes in favor versus 634 votes opposed. There were 77 blanks. Question 5 did pass. Question 6 sought to raise residential property taxes by an average of $211 to fuel new initiatives managed by the Affordable Housing Trust. Nantucket voted 1,096 votes in favor versus 994 votes opposed. There were 48 blanks. Question 6 did pass. And finally, question 7 sought to cover a potential shortfall in the town's solid waste enterprise fund, potentially raising average property taxes by as much as $121.76. Nantucketers voted 1,188 in favor and 867 were against. There were 83 blanks. Question 7 did pass. Now, before we speak with some of the winners in today's contests, we're first going to turn to local Whaler media students who spoke to voters today outside of Nantucket High School.
I'm Vincent, and today I will be interviewing people going to vote in our local election. Hi, what is your name?
My name is Charles.
My name is Cody.
I'm Meredith Lepre.
I'm Henry Peel.
Harvey Lynch.
Bill Humphreys.
Dan Drake.
Jesse Tutra.
Michael Horton.
Alyssa.
My name is Mark Carapezza.
Jeff Ballinger.
Jen Dunbar.
Why is voting in a local election important to you?
Voting in a local election, this is the election where our vote counts the most. In a national election, how many people voted Biden versus Trump? Probably over 100 million Americans, right? In a local election here in the island, one vote can make a difference, like we saw at the town meeting where one of the warrant articles passed by a single vote. That's how much your vote matters here in a local election.
It is my voice having an influence.
Because I think it's important to have our voice heard and be able to choose who we want to be representing us in the town.
Because we want things to run correctly here. We got to get the right people elected.
I think it's important for the citizens to be able to vote their mind on what they feel.
Because we all have to have our influence.
To make a difference.
Because there's a lot of important questions to the Nantucket taxpayers that we need to decide where we want to spend our money.
I think that if you want to have your voice heard, then you need to vote. If you're upset about things that are happening in the town and you're not voting, then you don't really have the right to be upset.
I think you tend to know some of the people, so you have a better sort of control over the people you know. You can vote for people you know, and not sort of control, but a better understanding. How's that?
Because it's important to have your voice be heard, and you can't complain if you don't vote.
Okay, we are now back live in the Channel 18 studios on Bayberry Court. And with me now is Dr. Malcolm McNabb, the incumbent select board member who was reelected today. Congratulations, Dr. McNabb.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. it was only 6 or 7 months ago that we were here, and I was congratulating you on your initial election. How does this feel different 6 or 7 months later?
Well, this feels different. In the last 6 months, I've certainly learned a lot, and I'm really eager to go for the next 3 years. I'd just first like to congratulate Tom, and also congratulate Kathy and Clifford, because, you know, it takes a lot to step up to do this. And I was just looking and doing my math, and maybe 21% of the registered voters actually voted. And I think one thing I want to do is in the next few years is encourage more participation in our government. I mean, you know, if you don't vote, you can't complain. And we see, some say, oh, that's a great turnout. That's not a great turnout. We need to do better. But again, I congratulate the people that ran. It takes a lot of courage in some ways to do that. And I'm looking forward to the next 3 years.
Voter turnout on Nantucket has been a perennial issue for some time now. And I didn't vote till about 6 o'clock, and I was surprised to see how low that number was. And it didn't really budge between 6 and 8 o'clock tonight. Do you have any thoughts on why this is like this on Nantucket and what might be done to improve turnout?
I don't know, but we need to get more of the community engaged. There's a small percentage of people that always turn up at town meeting and are very vocal. You know, a public comment at the select board are very vocal. We need to get more of that. We need to get more people involved.
Are we tied to Tuesday for local elections in Massachusetts?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that either. Town meeting used to be during the week, and now it's on Saturdays. Or at least that's the idea, to have it all finished up on Saturday. But this is actually something I spoke with Libby Gibson and the late Catherine Stover about a few years ago, and they told me they had tried many things over the years. Don't ask me what they were because it was too long ago, but they did say that the town of Nantucket had tried quite a few things to encourage people to come, and nothing really seemed to work. So this may be a problem that's with us for some time to come. What do you look forward to doing besides continuing your work from your first term? What do you look forward to doing in your second?
Well, I mean, the major issues are obviously housing, the environment. We've got really focused on housing, but we can't affect the environment. And there's a third issue, and that is substance abuse, drug overdose on this community. I think there's been a lot of talk about it, but I've kind of put it as my third issue or first issue to really work about. The other one is fiscal responsibility. You kept mentioning things that were passed, tax increases. We have to look at that.
What's more important from your view, and this is a big question, getting more money or cutting back on expenses, or both?
I think we have to look at it all and do what the right thing is. I'm not smart enough to answer your question.
I don't know about that. An MD and a PhD, I think you qualify as smart enough for a lot of things.
Well, we have to look at it all.
Dr. Malcolm McNabb, thank you for joining me tonight. And again, congratulations from everyone here at Channel 18 on your victory.
And thank you, Charlie. And congratulations to you. I should congratulate you first. You won an award.
We all did here. It was a team effort, and I was both surprised and delighted. But thank you for your congratulations.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you in your second term. And I believe we are ready now to go back to our second video for Whaler Media, and we will go to that right now.
What's one or two things you'd like to see happen to improve life on this island?
Well, I'd like to see more opportunities for recreation for youth and adults. There's the idea of the bowling alley. I don't want to take any strong political positions, but I know in the middle of the depths of winter when you really don't want to be outside so much, and if you're not really much of an ice skater like me, then you really want some more indoor recreation options. So yeah, I'd like to see a bowling alley.
I would like to see less traffic. I would like to see less violence. And I would like to see more days like this.
See us find more housing for people who are teachers and nurses and doctors and work within the town. And I would like to see us put more limits on short-term rentals.
Maybe we need stoplights, less congestion. It's very crowded, so I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, but maybe they'll figure it out.
Traffic.
Couldn't agree more.
I would like to see a different form of government from town meeting.
That's a tough one. There's so many. I would say safer roads and safer school system.
I think we need more facilities for our youth, namely our playing fields. So I voted yes for that question, number 4. Little League, we need some improvements to our Delta fields eventually, and maybe someday an indoor facility. Someone talked about a bowling alley. Other things, of course, would be mental health support for all of our island residents. And I think some of that starts with youth activities.
I'd like to have more transparency in how the overrides and additional funding is being spent. And I'd also like to see a more efficient historic district commission.
This is a harsh answer, but I would like people to stop thinking that there is a housing shortage and more that there is a population problem.
Less traffic and maybe less people in the summertime.
I actually like Nantucket the way it is, but keep the beaches clean and, keep the litter gone would be good for me.
Amazing. That's all the questions I have for you today.
We're back live in the studio, and before we sign off for the evening, I'm going to go over the results of the contested races one more time very quickly. In the select board race, Dr. Malcolm McNabb had 947 votes, but the top vote getter was Thomas Dixon with 1,030 votes. Dr. McNabb, of course, was the incumbent. Kathy Richin had 838 votes. Cliff Williams had 831 votes, but only 2 of the 4 are winners tonight. And the other contested race was for the Bank Commission, and Alan Reinhardt, the incumbent, won that race with 1,244 votes, and his challenger, Kelly Francis Stephan, had 719 votes. All 7 ballot questions did pass. All 7 did pass. And that's about it for tonight here in this live broadcast from the Channel 18 studios of Nantucket Community Television here on Bayberry Court. Thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. And as a reminder, this will be posted on YouTube. If you type in Election Nantucket 2023, it should bring it up for you. That's not going to be posted immediately, but look for it very soon. Thank you all for joining us. For everyone here, have a good rest of your evening.